We're riding Missouri's 240-mile Katy Trail State Park, using cross-state, bike-friendly, twice-daily Amtrak service to support shorter, laid-back segments. See our series intro video for background on using bikes with Amtrak. In part 2 of this series, we're discussing the logistics of riding a 3-day trip along the 88-mile stretch from Sedalia to Jefferson City, closing the loop via Amtrak's Missouri River Runner service. As with all our videos in this series, we're emphasizing relatively short daily riding distances that allow time to stop and appreciate trailside points of interest, and are manageable to people like us who aren't hardcore cyclists. This segment has the most topography of any stretch of the trail, descending into and climbing out of the Lamine River Valley, before descending even further into the Missouri River Valley, on a grade so long and steep that the railroad often assigned extra locomotives to help southbound trains make it up the hill. So you might take that into account when deciding which direction to ride. Lodging options along this segment include Sedalia, Pilot Grove, Boonville, Rocheport, and Jefferson City, while camping options include Pilot Grove, Franklin, and Cooper's Landing. So there are lots of ways to structure a multi-day trip based on Amtrak schedules, starting wherever you like and fitting the train ride in as you see fit. For just one example, when filming this video, we started in Jefferson City and took the morning train to Sedalia, finishing day 1 with a half-day ride to Pilot Grove. On day 2, we rode through Boonville to Rocheport, and on day 3, completed the ride back to Jefferson City. However you structure your ride, at some point you'll need to ride the 3-mile gap between the North Jefferson Trailhead and the Jefferson City Amtrak station, crossing the Missouri River in the process. From the trailhead, you'll ride a short gravel trail, then some quiet river bottom roads marked for bike traffic, climb a fun ramp spiraling up to the Missouri River Bridge, follow a dedicated lane over the river with great views of the state capitol, ride a somewhat busier road that's still marked for bike traffic, and sidewalks are also available, and cross the state capitol grounds. When it's train time, loading bikes is as easy as carrying them up the steps into the coaches. If the train isn't overly full, the conductor may just have you stash your bikes in an unused corner. But these coaches do have dedicated bike racks that you can ask to use if you prefer. Now it's time to sit back and enjoy the scenery, which in this stretch is mostly open rolling country as you transition from the northern edge of the Ozarks into the former prairie region of the Osage Plains. Here's something fun to look out for if you're tracking your location. Just east of Otterville, the train will pass a long rock cut along a grade down toward the Lamine River. At this site in July 1876, the infamous Jesse James gang robbed a Missouri Pacific train of more than $20,000. If you visit separately, a public park here provides a nice viewpoint for watching trains pass through this historic location. Our parallel series on Katy Trail geology and nature covers trailside natural features along each segment, but here we'll point out a few other highlights along this route. In Jefferson City, check out the riverfront Deborah Cooper Park, just across the tracks from the Amtrak station, accessed via pedestrian bridge from the state capitol grounds. This has some cyclist-friendly amenities, along with a super cool large-scale chessboard engraved with scenes from Missouri history. A hearty well done to the Eagle Scout who completed this project. In Sedalia, you'll need to ride about a half mile between the Amtrak station and the nearest point on the trail. This route follows wide and reasonably quiet city streets, and takes you to the restored Katy Depot. This beautiful building hosts a detailed museum showcasing railroad and local history. I'm particularly fond of this collection of historic Katy Depot photographs. Heading east from this depot, the trail temporarily leaves the railroad corridor as it detours around the original crossing of, and junction with, the Missouri Pacific Line. You'll follow a well-marked route using sidewalks and roadside trails to traverse quiet neighborhoods, before ending up back on the proper corridor. The small town of Pilot Grove hosts the conveniently located Katy Junction B&B and a city-owned campground. Take a short ride off the trail to check out the town's old jail building, built in 1892. The Missouri River town of Boonville has quite a few places worth stopping for. The new River, Rails, and Trails Museum has abundant exhibits on regional history. Just down the trail, the restored 1912 depot is the only remaining example from a handful of special Spanish mission-style depots built along the Katy. If you're looking for a quick breakfast or lunch, we strongly recommend the nearby derailed Coffee Bar and Cafe, with its lovely outside porch. A fruit smoothie is a great treat on a hot summer day. No visit to Boonville is complete without riding out onto the 1932 Katy Bridge over the Missouri River. We have a separate video covering the history of this bridge and its two predecessors. Sadly, the trail doesn't cross here but detours over a nearby highway bridge, though the view over the river is worth appreciating. If you have time, we strongly recommend a side trip to Harley Park. Just before the railroad bridge, follow an obscure trail heading uphill, and then follow roads and signs, to a hillside overlook of the Missouri River. The hill above this parking lot is capped by 3 Native American burial mounds, which should be treated with respect. You'll notice another one encircled by the road as you ride back down toward the trail. Finally, a nice lodging option in downtown Boonville is the restored Hotel Frederick, built in 1905 on a hilltop overlooking the river. Inside, the rooms are simple but elegant, and the hotel even features a bike shop with repair and rental services. Another camping option arrives a short distance across the river, at Franklin, where the Katy Roundhouse Campground straddles the former yards and roundhouse where the Katy's 2 main northern routes toward Chicago and St. Louis diverged. Like Boonville, the historic river town of Rocheport is worth taking the time to appreciate. Its tunnel is a highlight of the entire trail, with a complex history and geography that we covered in a pair of previous videos. If you're staying here overnight, Rocheport has lots of bed and breakfast to choose from, but only one, the Katy Trail B&B, has an authentic Katy boxcar you can sleep in. A trailhead leading off from the tunnel site gives you access to Diana Bend Conservation Area, including wildlife viewing platforms and a climb to the ridge overlooking the tunnel. The trailside Merriweather Cafe and Bike Shop is another worthwhile stop for meals or repairs. For an especially nice dining experience and excellent views, try the Blufftop Bistro a few miles east of Rocheport. You can lock your bike at the base of the bluff and walk up their dedicated trail, working up a thirst for wine tastings from the Associated Vineyard, and enjoy their gorgeous dining room or views from the outdoor Blufftop patio. Not far past the Blufftop Bistro Trail, you'll cross under the giant bridge carrying I-70 over the Missouri River. When we filmed this in September 2023, the new bridge was being built and the old one dismantled. Less than a week before our ride, the Missouri Department of Transportation blew up the central part of the old span in dramatic fashion. So we wondered if this sign should be revised to warn of other hazards. Jokes aside, the trail was obviously closed during this event, providing a good reminder to always check with the state park before planning a long ride. About 9 miles from Rocheport, a spur trail leads another 9 miles up to the college town of Columbia, taking you right downtown while connecting you to an extensive network of city trails and parks. Columbia has lots of lodging and dining options, and you could easily plan a longer trip to include a side visit or even start and finish a loop here. In our geology and nature video for this trail segment, we highlighted the trail up to a blufftop overlook with panoramic vistas of Eagle Bluffs Conservation Area. Another trailside hike to consider is the Hart Creek Trail in Hart Creek Conservation Area. Here too, you can lock your bike and hike up to a blufftop overlook. Between these two sites, another trailside camping option appears at Cooper's Landing, a privately owned riverfront setting offering places to pitch a tent, a bar featuring local microbrews with basic food options, and sometimes food trucks, and lots of live waterfront music. Along the trail, you can also bring some of your own food, as we do with a simple soft-sided cooler that can carry a lot of homegrown and homemade goodness. Simple picnics are another great way to sit back and appreciate the trailside setting on a budget. This segment of the trail has a lot going on, and we can't possibly cover it all, but it really adds to the trip to do a bike rail loop and experience both historic and modern rail corridors. Stay tuned to this series as we share tips for other segments, each of which has unique logistics, and be sure to check out our parallel series on trailside natural history.